Organizational Culture 101. Understanding the basics of organizational culture. Organizational culture refers to the shared system of values, beliefs, norms, and underlying assumptions that guide behavior within a company. It shapes how employees interact, how decisions are made, and how the organization responds to internal and external challenges. Culture influences not only formal processes, but also the informal, often unwritten, rules of engagement. It is evident in language, rituals, workplace layout, and even how meetings are conducted or how success is celebrated. The concept of organizational culture gained mainstream attention in the early 1980s, particularly through the influential work In Search of Excellence by Tom Peters and Robert Waterman. Their study of high-performing American companies highlighted how shared values and a strong sense of purpose could drive success more effectively than rigid bureaucratic systems. They argued that companies like Hewlett-Packard and 3M excelled because of their deeply embedded cultures that emphasize customer focus, innovation, and respect for people. Their work marked a shift from seeing culture as a soft, secondary concern to understanding it as a central pillar of organizational excellence. Schein's Levels of Culture. Schein's Levels of Culture framework provides a structured way to understand organizational culture by examining three distinct layers. At the surface are artifacts, which include visible organizational structures, processes, and physical environments, what we can see and hear in an organization. Just beneath the surface are espoused values, such as stated strategies, goals, and philosophies, which reflect what the organization claims to value. At the deepest level are basic underlying assumptions, the unconscious beliefs, perceptions, and thoughts that truly drive behavior and define the essence of an organization's culture. Edgar Schein later provided a foundational model for analyzing organizational culture, breaking it down into three interrelated levels. The first level, artifacts, includes the visible and tangible elements of culture, such as office design, dress code, language, and organizational rituals. Although easy to observe, artifacts can be ambiguous and hard to interpret without deeper context. The second level includes espoused values, which are the stated principles and goals the organization claims to uphold. These might be formalized in mission statements, core values, or leadership speeches. However, there is often a gap between espoused values and enacted practices. The third and deepest level consists of basic underlying assumptions. These are the taken-for-granted beliefs that guide perception, thought, and behavior. They are rarely questioned and often invisible to members of the organization, yet they exert a profound influence. For instance, if a company operates on the assumption that employees are inherently self-motivated, it may avoid micromanagement and provide high levels of autonomy. Typologies of organizational culture. Typologies of organizational culture help categorize the values and practices that shape how organizations operate. The clan culture fosters a family-like environment, emphasizing collaboration, loyalty, and employee development. The adhocracy culture is dynamic and entrepreneurial, encouraging innovation, risk-taking, and adaptability in a rapidly changing environment. In contrast, the hierarchy culture values structure, formal procedures, and control, aiming for stability, efficiency, and smooth operations through clearly defined roles and processes. Each type reflects a different approach to leadership, communication, and organizational success. Several frameworks have been developed to classify different cultural types. One of the most widely used is the Competing Values Framework developed by Cameron and Quinn. This model categorizes organizational cultures along two axes: internal versus external focus, and flexibility versus stability, resulting in four distinct types. Clan cultures resemble a family-like atmosphere, emphasizing collaboration, employee involvement, and a strong sense of belonging. Organizations like Zappos often illustrate this with their focus on community and team cohesion. Adhocracy cultures prioritize innovation, risk-taking, and adaptability, and are common in startups or design firms like IDEO. Market cultures are results-driven, emphasizing competition, achievement, and external success. They often exist in sales-heavy environments or high-pressure sectors. Hierarchy cultures are characterized by structure, control, and formal rules. Frequently found in government institutions, or large traditional manufacturers. Each cultural type brings different strengths and challenges, and the effectiveness of any one type depends on the organization's context and strategic goals. Culture as a control mechanism. Culture functions as a powerful form of control within organizations by shaping behavior through shared norms and values. These norms dictate what actions are considered acceptable or unacceptable, guiding employees' decisions even in the absence of formal rules. Social pressure reinforces these expectations, encouraging conformity and discouraging deviation, thereby maintaining order and cohesion through implicit, often invisible mechanisms of influence. Organizational culture also functions as an informal control system. In management control system theory, culture is identified as a form of cultural control, one that shapes behavior not through direct supervision or measurement, but through internalized norms and values. Unlike formal controls, such as budgets, key performance indicators, or action-based procedures, cultural control works through socialization, peer influence, and shared understandings. This form of control is particularly useful in complex or creative environments where tasks cannot be fully specified in advance. For example, a research lab may rely on a strong culture of inquiry, openness, and integrity to guide scientists in situations that lack clear rules. Similarly, consulting firms or advertising agencies may depend on cultural control to ensure quality and consistency across autonomous teams. Cultural controls often complement other control mechanisms, creating a more comprehensive management system that allows for both flexibility and accountability. Culture and leadership. Culture and leadership are deeply interconnected. Culture shapes the expectations and behaviors associated with leadership styles, while leaders, in turn, play a pivotal role in shaping and reinforcing organizational culture. When leadership aligns with cultural values, it strengthens coherence and trust within the organization. A strong, well-aligned culture can drive performance by providing clarity, motivation, and a shared sense of purpose that guides collective action toward organizational goals. Leadership plays a central role in shaping, reinforcing, and sometimes transforming organizational culture. Leaders signal what is valued through the decisions they make, the behaviors they reward, and the stories they tell. Their behavior often serves as a model for others and sets expectations for what is considered acceptable or exemplary. For instance, a leader who publicly celebrates learning from failure may foster a culture of experimentation and psychological safety. Conversely, a leader who emphasizes control and punishes mistakes may create a culture of fear and risk aversion. Culture is also a powerful constraint on leadership. Even visionary leaders may struggle to implement change if it clashes with deep-rooted cultural assumptions. Understanding the existing culture is therefore a prerequisite for effective cultural change. Leaders who ignore cultural dynamics often find their initiatives undermined by informal resistance, disengagement, or symbolic compliance. Culture and performance. Understanding the link between culture and performance. A well-aligned culture can be a major asset. It can improve coordination, enhance employee motivation, support strategic alignment, and reduce the need for costly formal controls. Companies like Southwest Airlines and Google are often cited as examples of firms that have used culture strategically to attract talent, improve customer service, and maintain innovation. At Southwest, a culture of fun, frugality, and customer care supports the company's low-cost business model and high employee morale. At Google, a culture of openness, curiosity, and experimentation has helped sustain its innovation pipeline. However, culture can also become a liability. Strong cultures that resist change, stifle dissent, or promote toxic behaviors can damage an organization. The Enron scandal revealed how a culture that prized financial manipulation and aggressive competition ultimately led to ethical collapse. Similarly, Volkswagen's emissions scandal exposed how performance pressures and a culture of secrecy contributed to widespread deception. Culture that is overly inward-looking or disconnected from shifting market realities can also lead to strategic drift and decline. Changing organizational culture. Culture is a key factor in shaping organizational success, influencing everything from employee behavior to strategic decision making. While culture can be changed, doing so is a complex process that requires sustained commitment, clear leadership, and significant time. Transforming deeply rooted values and norms involves not just structural adjustments, but also shifts in mindset and daily practices across all levels of the organization. Changing culture is one of the most difficult challenges in organizational life. Cultural assumptions are deeply embedded and not easily altered by formal declarations or symbolic gestures. Effective cultural change requires a combination of leadership commitment, strategic alignment, structural reinforcement, and sustained action. Change efforts often begin with a diagnosis of the current culture, identifying areas of misalignment or dysfunction. From there, leaders can articulate a new set of desired values and begin to embed them through recruitment, training, storytelling, and changes to reward systems. For example, an organization trying to become more collaborative may change its performance appraisal process to include team-based metrics and provide coaching for cross-functional leadership. Cultural transformation is typically gradual and nonlinear, requiring repeated efforts and constant reinforcement. Conclusion. Organizational culture is a powerful force that shapes the way work is done, the way people relate to one another, and the way organizations succeed or fail. It is not simply a background variable, but a central feature of organizational life. The work of Peters and Waterman helped establish culture as a key driver of excellence, while Schein's model provided a deeper theoretical foundation. In management control theory, culture is now recognized as an essential mechanism for guiding behavior, especially in complex and dynamic environments. Understanding and actively managing culture is thus a critical task for leaders, managers, and scholars alike. Whether as a source of stability or a lever for change, culture remains one of the most enduring and influential dimensions of organizational life. Stay tuned for more insights into business and the social sciences. If you found this overview helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on future topics you'd like us to cover. I'm Dr. Dog, wishing you a fantastic day ahead.